Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Poke Trainer Tyson here, and today we're gonna take a look at the market, see what's going on, have kind of this conversation. Are we headed towards a crash, or is this just a correction? Also, some brand new news that might have your local scalper who's full time looking for different full time employment. Um, Talking about the reason why the market might be doing what the market's doing. Um, yeah, let's just go ahead and hop in. So I wanted to take a look at sets. Start at when stuff started to get crazy, right? Stuff started to get crazy around Surging Sparks. I'm generally a player of the game, as well as a small time investor in the game, right? Trying to move more into collecting investing as I get a little older and have a little less time to play. And I remember being at Atlanta Regionals the same weekend that the set before Surging Sparks came out, right? Journey Together was the set before Surging Sparks. And stuff was pretty normal, right? So wanting to buy playable cards, and not just the base version, but like full arts of Crispins and Briars, they were like $5 a pop, so nothing crazy. Product was basically MSRP for booster boxes and ETBs and whatnot. And then I remember being in San Antonio a little after Surging Sparks came out, and everything had hit the fan, right? Booster boxes, for the first time in a long time, we're selling for way over MSRP, almost $100 over MSRP. Same with the ETBs. Um, and I knew that we were in for kind of a rough ride. Now, 2025, end of the year, stuff is very different, and we'll take a look, go product by product for a couple sets, and take a look at the charts. um, we're going to start with EDB because I want to give a few of my hypotheses based off of the data that I'm seeing while we go through this. The first thing that I want to bring up is buying regular ETBs, why you maybe shouldn't, and when you might want to. So I would say if you cannot pre-order ETBs at a decent price, then you don't want to buy any regular ETBs as an investor, speaking purely from an investor standpoint, until the second wave happens. If we look at this chart for Surging Sparks, and we'll go out a year, right? So if you pre-ordered, if you're able to get them at 50, about 50, which is basically MSRP, then none of this matters. Even with this huge downturn, you're still up 26%, right? But if you were not able to, and let's just say that you were trying to buy in uh, here, right, 115 half the time, or we don't even have to go that. It's not even we don't have to go that far back. Uh, well, yeah, let's say because basically, if you bought here, because this is when stuff started to go crazy, then you're chilling, right? If you bought at 6 months, you're down 40%, and this is because the crazy run up had happened. So now you're at the top of this run up, and then Pokemon dropped the second wave and flooded the market with these Surging Sparks, ETBs. The set's no longer the hottest thing. There have been, 3 or 4 sets that have come out since then, or 2 or 3 sets that come out since then. People are hype on new stuff. If anybody remembers the Pikachu that was like $500 when Surging Sparks came out, even that had lost hype. The Latios had lost hype. Some of the great cards in the set, and now people don't care that much about the ETB because it's more readily available, right? If you're buying ETBs in November of 2025, you're only paying $17 more than MSRP for the ETB, which as a collector, great, willing to do it. As an investor, this is when you buy the dip. So that's why I have the hypothesis of regular ETBs for main sets, be very specific, for main sets, you probably want to wait till wave two. You don't want to buy, unless you can pre order at a decent price, you don't want to just buy them willy nilly during, right? Because then you could be out 40% of your money. Or if we go out to the 1 month, or excuse me, 3 months, even if you bought them 3 months ago, you're out 29% of your money, almost 30% of your money, right? So that's where I kind of stand with regular ETBs and just using Surging Sparks as an example of the sets that were super hot, right? And we'll see that as we go through some more sets that people are liking right now. I've even got a special set in Black Bolt pulled up for us to go through. Next item is the case, and this makes me want to bring up my next point on sealed product. Oh, no, no, no. We'll talk about that when we get to the more expensive cases like booster box cases and Pokemon Center ETB cases. Um, this essentially is the same lesson though as the regular ETBs. The charts are very similar. So if you were able to pre-order at 400, 450, cool, you're up 72%. Congratulations. And honestly, the sell through rate on these tells its own story. Where if you bought here, you were cool. If you bought on the way up, then you're still probably fine. If you bought at the peak, and you can see the sell through rate here is very, very, very low, essentially from release until now when the prices have dipped. Then if you bought here, you probably lost some money, right? Like, let's go out. If you bought 6 months ago, you're down 5%, which is not terrible. We're not, losing our shirts over this. If you bought 3 months ago, then you're out 25%, right? If you bought a month ago, you're only out 8%, and that's because the price started to tank about a month ago. It is November 4th when I'm recording this. So you can't time the market, but you can look at the data. And this shows, and people probably saw when it started, you shouldn't have been buying them 3 months ago. Unless you are a long-term investor. If you're somebody who wants to just flip this and make a quick buck, that was not your time. And I think a lot of those people who wanted to make quick flips were probably also the same people who were over leveraged. Were probably also the same people who were doing it on credit cards and not taking care of the house before they took care of Pokemon. And those are the people who are having to fire sell right now because the government's trash, layoffs have been happening, no unemployment, no SNAP benefits since the government shut down. And now people who are properly leveraged, right, and collectors who have been waiting on the sidelines and saying, I'm not going to buy yet, can now buy at 25% of the high from 3 months ago, right? They can now buy closer to MSRP than they have been able to in a long time. Moving to the booster box. Booster box, very similar chart, not as bad because, again, we're moving into the products that I think you should be buying. Booster boxes and Pokemon Center ETBs. These are the most sought after. Pokemon Center ETBs are the most rare product. I think they will always outperform the regular ETB. The regular ETB, to me, is something that you buy when you think the set is strong, like a Destined Rivals, and people will want the packs no matter where they come. And you have the capital that you're willing to park because the ETBs are less attractive than Pokemon Center ETBs and booster boxes. But same deal, if you can buy it at release, you can buy the booster box at release before everything exploded here. Cool, you're up 24%. We love that. And if you bought at the top, which seemed to be about a month ago, right? Yeah, if you bought at the top a little over a month ago, then you're out 12% of your money. Which on a booster box, if you are a long-term investor, we don't really care, right? A long-term investor bought at to whatever this number is, 280, and they say, cool, I'm not going to look at it or sell it again until they've doubled in price. But if you're somebody, again, looking to make a quick flip, this is how they get screwed. And we're finding out there's no more free tendies, and a lot of people are bailing out. My next theory, nobody buys cases for a long time. Collectors aren't buying cases for the most part. I know some people who buy cases because they want a master set. But most people are not buying cases, especially the way that the market has been. When booster boxes were $90 a box at release, sure, people were buying cases, but that's just not true anymore. So with this, you're up on your money no matter when you bought it, right? You're up a little bit because case premium exists. Cases are a little scarcer than just loose boxes are. But look at the sell-through rate. All these are just one case. Right, sell-through rate on these kind of below, especially as prices went up. You see this curve. Last 3 months, prices go up. People stop buying because they say it's too expensive, right? So even if you've ever sold from a case before, you have a much easier time breaking down your case and selling the individual boxes than you do selling the case by itself. We'll see that again when we look at the Pokemon Center ETB cases. So in my opinion, the ETBs that you should be buying as much as you can, as early as you can, if you're an investor, is Pokemon Center Elite Trainer Box. Because if you look at the graph, you bought it a year ago, you're up 150% on your investment. You bought it 6 months ago, you're up 55% on your investment. So if you're dollar cost averaging in and you're just buying a little bit at a time, congratulations. You bought 3 months ago, you're up 41% of your money. You don't start to lose money until you're here and you've only lost 10% in a product they're not printing any more of. So you're not really that worried about it. I know plenty of people who have been dollar cost averaging themselves into elite Pokemon Center Elite Trainer boxes, not just the Surging Sparks one, but all of the ones that have come out, and they're doing just fine. Um, and they're excited for this dip because they're just going to buy a few more of them. If you buy, say I'm going to buy one or two a month and stack them away, all of a sudden you've got a pretty big catalog of different Pokemon Center ETBs that you can essentially just hold out for and sell when you're ready, right? So Pokemon Center ETBs, based off of the data, to me are the way to go. But this, if we go back to the cases situation, the sell-through rate on these cases suck. You're probably better off, even if you buy a case, right? Not expecting to sell a case. If you buy the case, expecting to break it down and sell it, and doing your math there, when I say how much do I have to sell each box for to pay for this case? Because if you buy the case, you pay the case premium, right? But when it goes time to sell, you're probably not going to be selling that case unless you have a network of folks that you know that want to buy the case. If you're streamers that need the product or whatever. But again, you get it at release, or excuse me, not release, but you get it a year ago. You're up 151%. You're up 45%. It's understandable why people thought that this was just going to go up forever because it kind of did, or at least it looked like it. For people who were brand new, people who came in off of TCG Pocket. For those of you that didn't see the PokeBeach article, 150 million downloads, 1.25 billion dollars made off of TCG Pocket in the first year. Yeah, makes sense why we have so many new people, right? Whether it be genuine collectors that want to, I open the digital pack, now I want to get the real pack. I want to open a real Gyarados. I want to open a real Blaziken, right? Or if it's investors that see how much the app is popping off and they, or excuse me, not investors, but flippers that see how much this is popping off. They remember the last time Pokemon dropped a big app in Pokemon Go and it blew the Pokemon hobby up again. And they want to come in and make a quick buck, right? It makes sense for them to see the graph and say, yeah, we can take advantage of this. And if they didn't sell at the top, if they just kept buying and buying and buying, over leveraging, then they definitely are getting screwed right now. This is an example of why the cases you might need to be prepared to sell. All these days, no sell through. I noticed it first when I went here and said the last one sold in September at 1,300, and you're down to 985 on average. And yeah, there's obviously no sales data in the last month. So that is my second hypothesis. If you're going to buy cases, potentially you shouldn't, or if you're going to buy cases, buy them as close to release as possible, and make sure that you got an exit plan, that you're fine, you've got the math done. Next up, we're going to talk about the big dog from Scarlet and Violet. I'm going to call it that because I think it's the strongest set performance-wise, card-wise. It's got the nostalgia factor in Team Rocket. It shows itself time and time and time and time again. Nostalgia runs this hobby. It doesn't matter what else came around it, how good the set is. If it's a Gen 1 set, if it's got, something that reminds people of when they were children, then that set's going to explode. And I think that's what happened to Destined Rivals. I'm not even that big of a Destined Rivals fan. I think the set's kind of mid. I think there's a lot of cool art in the set, but I don't care. Like the Mewtwo that's gone crazy, for me, it just doesn't do it. I was born in '98. I've been playing Pokemon since 2003, 2004. Still just doesn't do anything for me. Again, we're gonna learn the same lesson about regular ETBs. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. If you bought here at release and the pre-order prices, cool. You're out 58% of your money. If you bought a month ago, you're starting to see some gains. If you bought 3 months ago, and I go here at the bottom, you're still seeing some gains, right? You want to wait until the market cools off and then start picking up regular ETBs, and even understanding at that point you're going to hold these for a while because regular ETBs are not that popular. The difference with Destined Rivals, this one comes with an asterisk, is that the set is so strong and people love it. So people just want packs. These come with 9 packs, so you're over $10 a pack in a regular ETB, paying 110. And the art on the ETBs look amazing, so collectors want them just to put on their shelves and display. So that's the difference as far as knowing which sets are going to be strong. Excuse me, but Other than that, I still think it's the same thing as the Surging Sparks ETB. You'd probably rather have the Pokemon Center NTB or another booster box than this. I got the cases pulled up here. The cases are doing fine as far as the sell-through rate compared to the Surging Sparks that we talked about. The sell-through rate is going to be less on a case anyway, but um, again, if you bought here at the high, you've lost a quarter of your money. Uh, if you bought a month ago, you're up 5% already. If you bought 3 months ago, you're up 24%. The lesson keeps repeating itself. ETBs come later. Regular ETBs come later. On release, the focus is booster boxes and Pokemon Center ETBs. Speaking of which, Pokemon Center ETB. Now the reason why we want to focus on the Pokemon Center ETB early is because this is the price that people paid that weren't on the Pokemon Center, that weren't able to go get their stuff. If you're paying the normal Pokemon Center price for this, then this graph is irrelevant to you, right? But because you're up a bajillion percent, you're up a bajillion percent. You've almost four extra money. Yeah, if you bought them on the Pokemon Center as an investor, but if you bought them secondary market, you got punished. Um, even a month out. This is the case. This is no. This is just here. Even a month out, you got punished to almost 10%. Now, if you bought 3 months ago, we bottomed out. You're up 33%, which is pretty great. But remember, the goal with these, get them as close to release as possible at a decent price, right? So I would say if you weren't able to get them on the Pokemon Center and you saw these listed for $200, that's still a decent price as an investor because here we are $150 up, right? And that seems to be just what these ETBs do, the Pokemon Center ETBs. You can't time the market, but you can look at the history. Moving on to the regular booster box. If you bought right at release, you were up way more. You were up 40%. This is where I think we have corrected. I don't think we're necessarily crashing, but I think we have corrected. This box should have never been $500. That quick. It will be one day, but that quick, no. I wouldn't have bought it at 500. I personally wouldn't buy these at 381. We haven't hit the reprint of this box. The reprint might touch it, might back it up a little bit. But I think when it comes to a box like this, we got some time on this one, right? I think you, instead of buying this for 400, in the current market, you could go buy Silver Tempest for 400, right? Something that is older, that's way out of print, that we know is going to appreciate. And maybe this set appreciates way faster, who knows? But I think this set, while it is stronger, I think it's too expensive right now, especially going into this downturn that we're in. If you bought a month ago, you're down 4%. If you bought 3 months ago, you're still good, right? If you bought 3 months ago, you're up 25%. And I think this goes to show the strength of Destined Rivals. I still think it's a little too expensive, but I think every generation has a set like this. Obviously, for Sword and Shield, it was Evolving Skies. For us, it's Destined Rivals. For Mega, I do not think it's Phantasmal Flames. I think that set's pretty weak and small. I think the word that's going to correct really hard too, but that's another video. Booster case. These actually, the sell-through rate's pretty fine. But again, if you came out here and you bought too early, you're not down a ton. You're only down 1%. But I do think as things get printed and more of these hit I think this will dip a little bit more. I think there's still opportunity for you to buy. Like you see in the last month, we're already down 6%. I think there's opportunity to buy even lower than this as we continue to go through this kind of down period. And now we're going to get into ultra modern stuff. All of this is ultra modern stuff, but we're going to get into stuff that came out within the last, 4 months, 5 months. Let's talk about Black Bolt White Failure. This is our example of a special set. The ETB rules do not apply because these sets don't have booster boxes, right? So because these sets don't have booster boxes, ETBs, booster bundles, go get them, right? Depending on how strong you think the set's going to be, ancillary products can be fine too, like Putty and Fates 10s have done really well. Um, Anything with Crown Zenith packs in them, right, has done pretty well. Even if you have to break it down and sell it at the price per pack, it's done pretty well. These are the regular ETBs, a Black Bolt. If you pre-ordered, these were too high. These were too high. We knew that. Whoever bought these, RIP, they were going to be out for 50. Here, around that $90 to $80 range is probably where it was actually cool to buy them. And you see, if you did buy 3 months ago, when they were in that 80 to 90 range, you're not doing too bad. These are super new. It's a special set. Um, people like Black Bolt and White Flare. It may not be Crown Zenith, right? But this is still when it comes time and people look and they say, oh, I want to open that Reshiram card, or I want to hunt those black and white rares, or I want a Victini. They're going to have to come to you. They're going to have to come to the Black Bolt and White Flare ETBs and booster bundles to get their fix. So special set, I think it's fine long term to do ETBs. Same thing with ETB cases. These might actually be, let me do the math real quick. Are these potentially cheaper? How much is that per ETB? No, that's like, let me see, 964 divided by 10. Yeah, it's like $96 in ETB. So there is a slight case premium here. So you might hold on buying cases and just try and buy the regular ETBs. But this is still, I think, a fine buy. If you bought them, we're not going to pay attention to that. If you bought them probably here at like 932, then you're still coasting easy, right? You haven't really lost anything. And in fact, let me go look at a different special set. Not Prismatic. Prismatic is its own beast. Let's look up Paldean Fates. Paldean Fates, cool. Let's go Pokemon Center Elite Trainer Box, and let's go regular Elite Trainer Box, because these are essentially the booster boxes of this set, right? Pokemon Center Elite Trainer Box, if you got them at release, and this isn't even going that far back, congratulations, you're up 1,000,000,000%, right? I believe the Pokemon Center ATVs are $70, so you're up about 300 and some change. This is an example. Get them at release, as close to release as possible. Even if you would have bought when these were $100, even if you would have bought when these were $200, you're up a butt ton, right? This is an example of if the set is strong, then the ETB is strong as well, right? I think Destined Rivals could be in the same scenario as Paldean Fates. Paldean Fates is a strong set. People like these cards. If you bought these at $50, congratulations. You're up a butt ton. You've quadrupled your money, right? So it's just being on the lookout, looking at the set, trying to get a hold of, hey, is this set strong? Do people like it? What do I think it's going to do in a few years? And then you can win big. But this only applies if you're investing, not flipping. If you're flipping, I don't think flipping is great unless you're going to start a business, in which case there are ways to go about it. But if you're trying to flip sealed product, just, I saw some at Walmart, I got some, I'm gonna flip it immediately, I think you're gonna lose your shirt every time. But I think you guys get the point of what I'm trying to say as far as that goes. So I'll go ahead and end it there for today. Essentially, my hypothesis is that we are in a correction, not necessarily a crash, as far as my buying philosophies. Regular ATBs are only a priority for special sets. You want to get Pokemon Center ATBs as close as you can to release. You want to get booster boxes and booster cases as close as you can to release. You don't want to care for a main set about regular ETBs. If there's something you want to hold at all, you don't care until Pokemon prints that second wave and the price goes down, because it will. Yeah. Probably make a video soon talking about, well, we got time. Let me go ahead and do this. It won't take long. So essentially, the last place that I know of that a scalper could go get good product for cheap and essentially buy out the whole store is Walmart and I believe this probably applies to Sam Club as well, since they're owned by the same people or owned by the same company. If the font is too small for you to read, and you haven't heard about this, Walmart is now officially having limits. Target's got that 2 item per person limit. Walmart has decided their limit is 5. Right? They go in to talk about they're making this change so that everybody has a fair chance to get products. They're talking about their concerns about resellers, the product shortage, people not being safe. I assume all the videos going around about people getting recorded right at the front of a Walmart, buying 3-4 pallets of the mini tins is part of the reason why this is happening, but it's a great thing. I think this is also going to force prices down a bit. When somebody can't come and buy all of the ETBs, right, or all of the tins, all of the packs, when they're forcing you to leave some out for other people, I think this will help push down the price and be a great thing for Pokemon as far as getting product to the normal person, not somebody who is like me and you online watching videos about Pokemon content, right? So your full-time scalper locally has to go get another job, but I think it's going to be great for the hobby long term. But yeah, essentially, I'll leave it there, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. Hit the link tree for the TikTok and the other socials, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.